What if Anakin Skywalker never turned to the dark side? What if, instead of becoming Darth Vader, he exposed the Sith hiding in plain sight? This is the Star Wars story you've never seen and will never forget. A Jedi, a traitor, a secret that could have saved the galaxy. In this timeline, Master Yoda senses a dangerous imbalance in young Anakin Skywalker's raw power. Rather than placing him on the traditional path of the Jedi Guardian or Counselor, the Council assigns Anakin to the lesser-known but vital path of the Jedi Sentinel role, combining Force abilities with investigation, espionage, and street-level justice. His master is Jedi Master Sindralig, the Temple's head of security and a Sentinel of high renown. This role gives Anakin a broader perspective. He sees corruption, war profiteering, and manipulation from behind the scenes. He becomes more self-disciplined, skeptical, and resourceful. Still passionate and powerful, but now tempered by a detective's mindset. While Obi-Wan and other Jedi battle in the Outer Rim, Anakin operates deep within Coruscant. As war escalates, he uncovers discrepancies in military supply chains, backdoor deals with Kaminoan cloners, and missing Jedi archives. He notices a pattern. All trails of corruption and secrecy lead to the office of the Supreme Chancellor. As a Sentinel, Anakin is granted rare access to Republic intelligence channels. With the help of his close ally and slicer droid KT-4N, Katon, he digs into redacted files and restricted holonet channels. The deeper he searches, the more he finds signs of manipulation behind the Clone Wars' fabricated conflicts, altered holorecords, and Sith code embedded in encrypted communications. Anakin's investigation leads him to a chilling realization. Chancellor Palpatine is Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord orchestrating the Clone Wars. But the Jedi Council doesn't believe him. At first, Palpatine has entrenched himself as a war hero and protector of democracy. Anakin is forced to gather undeniable proof. Using Sentinel surveillance gear and Force-guided stealth, he sneaks into Palpatine's private chambers. There, he records a hidden meeting between the Chancellor and Count Dooku via Sith holocom. Palpatine speaks openly of turning the Republic into a Sith empire, calling Anakin the key to it all. Enraged but focused, Anakin resists confrontation, escapes, and rushes to the temple. Armed with evidence, Anakin brings the holo-recording to the Council. Mace Windu is still skeptical, but Yoda and Obi-Wan, just returned from Utapau, confirm the truth. The Council devises a bold, rapid response. Arrest Palpatine before he can enact Order 66. That night, the Jedi launch a coordinated infiltration of the Senate. Anakin, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, and Shaak Ti confront Palpatine in his office. The Sith Lord unleashes a flurry of dark power, revealing his monstrous visage. But Anakin, grounded in his Sentinel discipline, resists the pull of power and strikes Sidious down with Windu's help. With Sidious dead, the clone army begins acting erratically. Some battalions still attempt to execute Order 66. But thanks to Sentinel agents embedded in the GAR, Grand Army of the Republic, the Jedi disable the Master Control signal in time, preventing a galaxy-wide purge. The truth of Sidious's crimes is broadcast to the public. Shockwaves ripple through the Republic. The Jedi Order, once seen as distant and aloof, is hailed as saviors. The war ends within weeks. Count Dooku surrenders after seeing his master's death. Anakin Skywalker becomes a legendary Jedi Sentinel, known as the Shadow's Light. He remains in the Order but declines a council seat, choosing instead to train a new generation of Sentinels with his unique insight. Padmé Amidala survives and remains a senator. With Anakin by her side, she becomes an architect of the post-war Republic Charter, ensuring greater accountability and limiting executive power. The Jedi evolve less, rigid, more balanced. No longer detached monks or soldiers, they become guardians of balance, guided by reason and compassion.
Anakin Skywalker's path was never ordinary. From the moment Qui-Gon Jinn found him on Tatooine, the Force surged around him like a storm barely contained. The Council sensed his potential, perhaps even feared it. But Yoda saw something else too, a shadow clinging to his future. Instead of placing Anakin among the Jedi Guardians, those who wielded lightsabers as warriors or the consulars who studied the deeper mysteries of the Force, Yoda suggested something different. A third path. The Sentinels. Unlike the more well-known branches of the Jedi, Sentinels walked between the lines. They blended combat, logic, and espionage. They weren't warriors first, nor scholars. They were watchers in the shadows, investigators, slicers, streetwise, peacekeepers. They fought not just with sabers, but with insight. And that, Yoda believed, was exactly what Anakin needed. Master Sin Dralig, head of temple security and a respected sentinel, took Anakin under his wing. Unlike Obi-Wan's structured formality, Dralig's mentorship was gritty and hands-on. He didn't care about titles or glory. He wanted Anakin to think, to question everything, and to understand the galaxy not from the high towers of Coruscant, but from the alleys, clubs, and underlevels where secrets festered. Out there, Dralig told him once, pointing through a grimy, transparisteel window to the lower city, truth hides beneath 10 layers of lies. Learn to see through it, and you'll find the Force speaks differently. Anakin learned to decode encrypted messages, track smugglers, dismantle black market tech, and interrogate without intimidation. He still trained with his lightsaber, but now he understood when not to ignite it. More importantly, he began to see the Republic for what it was, flawed, messy, and full of cracks where darkness could seep in. By the time war erupted, Anakin wasn't just a soldier. He was a seeker of truth, a protector from the shadows. He didn't crave the spotlight, not anymore. He wanted answers. And deep down, a voice kept whispering to him through the Force that the real threat wasn't on the battlefields. It was in the Senate, closer than anyone dared imagine. While the galaxy's attention was fixed on distant star systems torn apart by the Clone Wars, Anakin Skywalker walked the shadows of Coruscant far from the front lines, but closer to the heart of the rot. As a sentinel, Anakin's mission wasn't to lead clone battalions into battle. It was to dig, to uncover, to understand why the war was dragging on despite all the Jedi sacrifices. He started noticing strange patterns in the data flowing through Republic networks. Military supply shipments were being rerouted, sometimes disappearing entirely. Kaminoan cloners were logging orders twice the amount requested by the Senate. Weapons were showing up in black market caches only days after being lost in transit. It didn't make sense. He brought the findings to Master Windu. "Corruption in the Senate is nothing new," Mace said flatly, arms crossed. "We've dealt with it before." "But this is different," Anakin insisted. "This isn't just greedy senators. Someone is managing this, guiding it." Windu's silence was cold. "You're seeing shadows, Skywalker." But Anakin kept going. With the help of his trusted droid companion, KT-4 Noom, he affectionately called Catan Anakin, began slicing into restricted holonet channels and encrypted Senate logs. The deeper he went, the more he found. Transactions leading back to shell corporations. War funding being funneled through back doors. Memos with no names. Just Sith encryption keys buried in their metadata. Then came the whispers. Senators who had asked too many questions were suddenly transferred off-world. Some simply vanished. One evening, inside a rusted-out data vault buried in Coruscant's underbelly, Catan processed an intercepted transmission. It wasn't much, just a fragment, but it was enough. A voice. Calm, authoritative, familiar. It was Chancellor Palpatine, discussing war logistics with an unknown figure. But the tone wasn't that of a concerned leader, it was calculated, cold, as if the conflict itself was orchestrated. Anakin stared at the hollow recording, heart pounding. The war wasn't spiraling out of control. It was under control. And for the first time, a terrible thought crept into Anakin's mind. What if the Republic's greatest enemy wasn't out in the stars, but sitting in its highest office? Under the cover of night, Anakin prepared for what might be the most dangerous mission of his life. The Senate building, normally bustling with diplomats and guards, was quieter now, its gleaming halls shadowed and still. He carried only what he needed: his yellow-bladed lightsaber, a discreet comlink, and a small recording device. Master Sindralig had trained him well, teaching him to move unseen, to blend into the crowd like a ghost. Anakin's heart beat steady, but his mind raced. He knew this was his chance to gather undeniable proof that could topple the Sith Lord disguised as Chancellor. Inside the private wing, security was tight. Patrols moved in patterns he'd memorized, surveillance cameras scanned every corner, and a locked door barred his way to the inner sanctum. But Anakin was no ordinary Jedi. Using the Force, he reached out, sensing the presence of guards beyond the door. With a silent breath, he slipped into the shadows, becoming one with the Force and the night. A flick of his wrist disengaged the security lockpick, precise, without a sound. The door slid open. Inside, a holo projector pulsed softly. Anakin crept closer. Suddenly, voices. Two figures appeared in the hologram: Count Dooku and Palpatine. Palpatine's expression was cold, calculating. "The war serves its purpose," he said, voice low. Dooku nodded solemnly. "The Jedi are blind to the truth." Anakin's breath caught as the conversation unfolded. Palpatine spoke of control, manipulation, and of Anakin himself. "He will join us," Palpatine declared. "His power is essential." The recording device in Anakin's hand captured every word. Despite the rage burning inside him, he forced himself to remain calm. There was no time for confrontation, not yet. He slipped out as silently as he'd entered. Outside, the city lights of Coruscant stretched endlessly. Anakin's mind was clear. He had what he needed. Now, the galaxy's fate depended on what the Jedi Council would do with this truth. The Jedi Council moved quickly once the truth was undeniable. Anakin, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mace Windu, and Shakti stood together outside the towering doors of Chancellor Palpatine's office, their faces grim and focused. The halls of the Senate building were eerily silent, the usual hum of political chatter replaced by the heavy weight of impending confrontation. Obi-Wan glanced at Anakin. "Are you ready for this?" Anakin nodded, gripping his yellow lightsaber with steady hands. "I have to be." The doors slid open silently as the Jedi stepped inside. There, seated behind his desk, was Palpatine, calm and composed, as if expecting them. His eyes flashed with a dark fire as he rose. "You come with accusations," Palpatine said smoothly, voice laced with menace. "But you underestimate the power I wield." Mace Windu stepped forward, his purple lightsaber igniting with a hum. "We know what you are, the Sith manipulator behind this war." Palpatine's expression twisted into something terrifying. His hands crackled with dark lightning. "You have no idea what power you challenge." The battle erupted instantly. Sparks flew as lightsabers clashed, the chamber shaking with raw Force energy. Anakin fought with precision, using everything the Sentinel path had taught him: patience, cunning, control. Palpatine unleashed torrents of Sith lightning, but Mace Windu absorbed and redirected the fury with practiced skill. Shakti moved like a shadow, her blade swift and deadly. Obi-Wan kept a calm, steady defense, watching for any opening. The fight was brutal, the fate of the Republic hanging in the balance. In the final moment, Anakin sensed a flicker of hesitation in Palpatine. Together, the Jedi seized it. With a coordinated strike, Mace Windu's blade pierced the Sith Lord's defenses, and Palpatine fell. Silence returned. Breathing heavily, Anakin looked around at his comrades. They had stopped the darkness before it could consume everything. But the war was not yet over. The galaxy would need more than heroes. It would need hope. And Anakin Skywalker was ready to be that light. Even as the Jedi Order began to heal and adapt, a new threat quietly stirred in the galaxy's shadows. Anakin Skywalker, now a respected Sentinel master, sensed the lingering darkness that refused to fade. One evening, deep within the Jedi archives, Anakin sat studying ancient holocrons when a sharp, unexpected signal disrupted the calm. Katan, his trusted droid companion, beeped urgently. "Master Anakin, an encrypted message just came through, highly unusual, originating from the Outer Rim." Anakin's brow furrowed. "Show me." The message was brief but chilling. "The Sith's legacy lives. We rise from the ashes. Watch the skies." Anakin's heart tightened. The Sith had been thought vanquished with Palpatine's fall. But here was proof they were not gone. He called together Obi-Wan Kenobi and Shakti to discuss the threat. Obi-Wan's eyes darkened. This could mean a new Sith faction is organizing in secret. Shakti nodded. "We must act quickly before they grow too strong." Anakin felt the weight of responsibility settling heavily on him. His training as a Sentinel told him the battle wasn't only about lightsabers and battleships, it was about uncovering hidden enemies, stopping seeds of darkness before they take root. Together, they planned a covert mission to the Outer Rim, where rumors of Sith activity had whispered through the Force. The journey was perilous, through uncharted systems cloaked in shadows and political uncertainty. At every step, Anakin felt the Force urging caution, but also determination. "We cannot allow history to repeat," he told his companions. "We must face this threat head-on with vigilance and unity." The mission would test everything they believed in, but Anakin's resolve was unshaken. For the galaxy's future, for the light, for balance, he would stand Sentinel, no matter the cost. Years had passed since Anakin Skywalker had exposed Palpatine's dark conspiracy and reshaped the Jedi Order as a Sentinel. The galaxy had slowly begun to heal, but Anakin knew peace was fragile. One quiet evening, as Coruscant's twin moons cast silver light over the Jedi Temple, Anakin sat in meditation. His mind drifted back to the boy he once was, full of anger, fear, and doubt. Now, he was different, more balanced. Stronger? A knock on the door broke his reverie. It was Ahsoka Tano, his former Padawan, now a skilled Jedi Sentinel in her own right. "Master," she said softly, "there's something you need to see." Anakin followed her to the communication chamber, where a hologram flickered to life. A council of leaders from across the galaxy spoke of renewed alliances, the sharing of knowledge, and the fight against lingering threats. "Thanks to you, Master Anakin, the Jedi have become a symbol of hope again," Ahsoka said. He smiled faintly, eyes filled with quiet pride. "But this journey isn't over. Every generation must face its own darkness," Anakin said. "We must remain vigilant, not just as warriors, but as guardians of balance." Outside, the stars twinkled in the vastness of space, reminding him of the countless lives depending on their watchfulness. He looked to the horizon, sensing the Force flowing through everything light and dark, hope and fear intertwined. Anakin rose, his yellow lightsaber igniting with a steady hum. The path of the Jedi Sentinel was one of sacrifice, courage, and unwavering commitment. He was ready for the galaxy, for the future, for the light. And as the twin moons bathed the temple in gentle glow, Anakin Skywalker, the Sentinel who had changed destiny, prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead with hope in his heart and the Force as his guide.